This is a video of a talk from Crater Remote Conf given to a live audience in February 2016. This video was made possible by sponsors like Modulus.io, okgrow.com, and spacedojo.com. If you would like to find out more information about upcoming conferences, be sure to go to conf.crater.io and put your email in the form that pops up in the lower left corner. Enjoy the video. Welcome back, Crater fans, to the Crater podcast. No, we're not doing that today, but we do have my Crater podcast co-host, Ben Strahan. Welcome, Ben. We can't hear you, dude. You broke your mic. This is funny. Wah, wah.
All right, welcome everybody. My name is Ben Strahan. Today, we're going to be talking about something amazing. We're going to be talking about finding the Holy Grail of MVP stacks. And this is a different kind of presentation than the others. The others are more technically based, and I figured, man, you guys need a little breakup, need to get some excitement in your life and all that stuff. And so I'm here to offer the excitement. I'm going to keep my shirt on, I promise. But I do a lot of different things. For those of you who don't know my story, I've started programming JavaScript about a little over 2 years ago, and come a pretty long way, I feel like. And I've come that far because I failed in the past. And I'm going to share with you guys some things that I do whenever I take new projects on, and I carry these stuff on in life, and I carry it on at okgrow, and I carry it on with what I do with Josh. For those of you who think you're in the wrong conference room, you might be right, because Josh didn't do the SEO correctly. And there's some nasty Google searches if you go to look for this show. I'm not going to say what the title of the other one is, but if you guys are looking for that, then just let me know. I could change up my slide. I kind of made a plan B if you guys really wanted that. So anyway, who am I? My name is Ben Strahan. I'm a developer designer at okgrow, if you don't already know. Right now, I'm going to totally take advantage of this show and be like, hey, anyone who's not following me on Twitter should follow me right now at _Benster. Or I'm sorry, Abby wants to call it _Benster. It's really _Benster. That's what it is. Anyway, so what qualifies me to talk about this stuff? In the past, I did startups. Before I even was a programmer, I did startups, and I would hire programmers and have ideas and all stuff. And I learned a lot of tough lessons on all the projects that failed. And this little methodology I'm going to be sharing with you is kind of like what I came to and has been pretty successful last year. I've also come from the corporate world. I've done plenty of internal MVPs and agile projects in the corporate setting, which is very fun. It's a whole nother area of navigation. And I work with startups every day at okgrow. I love my job at okgrow. I love the team. I love the clients that we have. And I love that I get to be involved in all the different aspects, not just the programming of the clients that we work with. And I believe that everything should be an MVP. Everything in life, everything in programming, everything. Even my experiments with the shows that I do. And that's what I'm going to get into next. I have to give this disclaimer. If you guys haven't heard me talk before, you just got to know that if I say awesome, cool, very cool, yo man, much love, dude, totally broski, all that stuff, I am actually an excellent speaker, because this is all planned, carefully planned out for you guys. So any or hey or oh, I'm doing that on purpose because I'm an expert. Just want to let you guys know. Okay, so shameless promotions. So this is the cool things that I really like right now that I'm part of, and you guys should all figure out what they are and go Google them after this show. I am a developer at OKGrow. We do Meteor consulting, and we love it. We help startups and enterprise, and it's amazing. It's a great team, and we do great stuff. I help Josh on the Creator Podcast and Space Dojo. It is amazing working with Josh. He has been a mentor in so many ways to me in the last 2 years. And a lot of people don't know this, but I got started in Meteor simultaneously with getting Discover Meteor from Sasha and doing Mastering Meteor with Josh. And the rest is history. I also have a new venture with Sashko Stabilo from MDG. We do a podcast called Transmission. You guys should get on that if you guys haven't yet. It's amazing. We're going to be recording show number 6 in an hour after this show. And it's going to be sweet because now we're going to be getting official MDG support. I'll be interviewing Ben Newman today. I'll be interviewing Sashko, of course. And we have Matt DeBurgalis joining us as well. And I'm going to really figure out what's going to go on with the open source world and how open Meteor is going to be in the future, and how we all can get along and kumbaya and have fun, hugs, kisses, maybe not kisses, that's awkward. Follow me on Twitter again. Dude, come on. I'm marketing like crazy. Let's get into the show. So what is an MVP? What do I think an MVP is? MVP for me is kind of like a mix. I'm going to tell you what the official definition is. So like Eric Ries does it pretty well. He says the minimal viable product is that version of a new product which allows a team to collect the maximum amount of validated learning about customers with the least amount of effort. And that's cool. There's a few things that I differ from them, and I don't really care if I'm right or wrong. I just want to be productive. That's the bottom line. So he says in there for new products, and I think everything should kind of be MVP'd or agile, pretty much. I would use that stuff interchangeably, and you guys probably might be like, why is this guy talking? Those two things are totally different. But anyway, I believe that they're the same. Each iteration you should treat as a minimal viable product. Each features that you're going to be getting out, you should take the principles from MVPs and your sprints and integrate it all in your decision making on what you're going to build and how you build it, how you execute, and how you bounce back from mistakes or lessons learned. So when I talk about MVP, I'm talking a little bit about a mix of agile and MVP, and it's for all things forever. You never stop making MVPs, even if it's like a really old project. So why am I giving this talk? I kind of went ahead and said, I'm giving this talk because I love it, and I want to share with you guys some of the success things that I've kind of iterated on and what is a proven strategy for me going forward in all things life. But the big reason why I'm doing it is because I work with startups every day, and I see the same mistakes happening over and over. I'm reading your comments. I shouldn't read your comments. I can't multitask. Anyway, I want to share with you guys some of this basic stuff, and a lot of it you'll know, and I hopefully there's 1 or 2 tidbits that you're really going to enjoy and you're going to integrate in your life. And let's go forward, man. Let's do this. So minimal viable product. A lot of people think, oh, an MVP is get a piece of crap thing out there and I got something to show for my time, and hey, it's out there. Hey, I got a landing page. That's my MVP. That's not your MVP. A minimal viable product covers all these things, but the minimal amount of it. So it needs to be delightful. It needs to be usable. It needs to be valuable. It needs to be feasible. And you need to accomplish that. And each iteration, you're going to be slicing off another one of this. I don't know what it is. Looks like a blue snot rag. Anyway. So what I want, the bottom thing is pick a good stack so that you can do limiting refactoring. A lot of people, and Eric Ries has talked about MVPs and said, you know, even like static HTML and CSS websites that just like totally fake what you're doing, he would consider that an MVP. And I think all of us on this call wouldn't consider that an MVP at all. Our MVPs would definitely be probably incorporating Meteor Create and then going from there. And I would agree with that. I think it should be a little bit more robust. I don't want to be completely refactoring or creating new apps for each version of my MVP as it like goes to the next level. So I would say you start your MVP, you don't do a crappy job, you start it with a stack that you're going to be iterating on and growing. But I'm going to give some boundaries around that because you can go totally crazy and it can mess you up pretty bad. A little disclaimer, I'm still figuring all the stuff out. So most of the stuff that I'm talking about is just BS. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the show while I talk about stuff that might not be true. So the goal, the end goal, is to become a multi-discipline Shrewd developer. So let's dive into it. I want to kind of share with you guys what that means. So who this talk for? Developers that are making greenfield and useful projects. That's who I'll be talking to today. If you're doing a tech startup, if you're doing a business app, line of business app, if you're a consultant, all this stuff, we're going to be talking directly to you. But the overarching topics that I'll be talking about, you can actually apply to anything in life. And that's the cool thing about this talk. Multidiscipline developers are exceptional developers. And this is what I mean by multiple discipline. Not only do you need to be technical and be a technical lead on the project if you want to be that technical lead, but you also need to be a project manager. You also need to be a product manager, and you also need to be aware of marketing. And I'm going to dive into why all those things are important and why you want to try to be an exceptional developer with all of those features, or I don't know, definitions of yourself. I can't think of the word. You guys are making me so nervous. I got to stop here before step one. This is so hard. This is so hard because every show that I do, I always have feedback or talking to someone, and I'm talking to myself. This is bogus. I'm never going to do this again, Josh. Just kidding.
You're okay, man. It's okay. You can do it.
Oh, I feel so much better with you chiming in.
All right.
And this is a great lead-in for step number one. So the thing that I'm going to be sharing with you guys right now is empathy. And you need to be an investigator of people's opinions. You need to live and die by people's opinions. And that's perfect on what I was just describing. Like I'm not getting any feedback on this conversation, and I'm too bad with multitasking that I can't read the comments on the side. So it's hard because I live off of feedback. Step one is step one. You don't even talk about the stack. You don't even talk about technical stuff that you're going to do. First thing you do is you investigate people. We're going to dive into what that means. You got to identify who the stakeholders are. This is paramount. And you got to treat each person different. So when you start a project, you're going to have a handful of these, not all of them, inside of, or what you need to be aware of for the project that you're coming on. You have yourself, you have co-founders, possibly investors. You definitely have customers, and users might be separate from customers. You have your team of developers or consultants that you're hiring. And you have your family, you have your spouse, you know, they play a big role. And if I missed any, then just fill in the blank. Ben is so nervous. I'm not nervous. I'm chill like a cucumber.
You're doing good.
Whoops, cucumber. Shoot, I said cucumber. Okay. You need to identify these people because they each want different things, and you need to be empathetic to each one when you're planning out your MVP sprint. MVP means, to me, it means to deliver the minimal acceptable features for each one of those stakeholders in each sprint. So how are we going to do that? We're going to identify who belongs in each group. And you really need to identify that. A lot of people start a project without even identifying who the stakeholders are. And I think it's paramount. That's like your project's like almost teetering on failure in step one if you don't determine who these people are. Get each group involved in day one. So what that means is you got to pitch each group and note the feedback. If people are going to not like your idea, or they're not sold about it, or they look hesitant about it, you need to ask them why. Why are they not buying in? And then go from there. As you iterate on your features, as you're building your MVP, you need to show these groups what you're doing and take the criticism. And each one's going to be different. As you get the criticism, you need to then build your next iteration on what the features are going to be involved in that sprint. And then ask them how it should be prioritized. You're basically cutting yourself out of planning the app. And this is good. Like you have a vision, but you need to have other people tell you how to execute it. Constantly be interested in why they are thinking how they're thinking. And this helps you build empathy in what you're building, and you get to then figure out the long-term path of things. If you guys are, I'm guessing that most of the people who are listening are aware of like MDG and Meteor and the relationship between MDG and the community. And you could probably see this list, and you could identify like where maybe MDG didn't do one of these things, and you can identify the feelings that it caused. And so this is why those feelings are in our community right now. And the reason why this is step one is because it's tremendously important when picking the tech stack to plan out what is right, what is really needed. It's going to affect everything going forward. So that's why it's step one. Really quick, I want to go through some examples. Investors. What is important to investors? Well, investors want to see their money spent well. One thing that sets WorkPop apart from other startups is that they develop stuff extremely fast and high quality. So that is awesome for their investors. It instills a lot of confidence in the WorkPop team when their investors are seeing everything that's being kicked out. And WorkPop attributed a lot of that early success to Meteor, and they were able to iterate and build features quickly because of Meteor. And that is awesome. That's something that your investors want. The investors also want to see that you really understand your problem. And by investigating these things, then you know that you're going to be on board, and the investor is going to understand when you explain to them why you're making certain decisions. What's important to a developer? Developers want to have cool things to work with. They want to be challenged, but not too much. They want to feel like they're accomplishing stuff. So they're different than the investor. The investor wants to have things pop out really quick, high quality, something to show, and be able to prove traction. Developers want to be challenged. They want to have fun. They want to build their resumes. They want to work on an awesome team. And then what your users and clients want are totally different than both of those people. And so you really need to be taking each one into account, and you have a successful MVP or a sprint if you're accounting for every single one of them. So step 2, avoid vermin traps. Do not be a yak cowboy. You do not want to be a yak shaver. You do not want to be a yak shaver. Repeat that 10 times. You do not want to be a yak shaver. No. Look at those cowboys. Do any of them have a MacBook? They don't. So don't be one of them. JavaScript fatigue, guys, it's self-inflicted and unnecessary. And I'll tell you why. It's because you guys are in control of what you want to learn. Okay, we don't need to be building stuff with ECMAScript 2015. We don't need to be building stuff with React. We don't need to be worrying about Relay. We don't need to worry about that stuff. We choose to worry about that stuff. And by first identifying that, then all of a sudden fatigue kind of goes away and you're kind of in control of your own destiny. So there is no one telling you that you need to build with the latest stuff. You know what you need to do? You need to have an exciting development community and developers happy to work on your project. That's it for excitement. Like if you achieve that, you did it. That doesn't necessarily mean that you need to have React. You can work on Blaze. That's plenty exciting. You know, you could work on, you could use Flow Router, React Router, whatever. It doesn't matter as long as it's exciting to work on. JavaScript fatigue is just, it's an empty word. It's fake. It's all in your head. Don't burn me at the stake for saying that. It's so true. So what to care about as a developer? These are things that you should really care about when you're picking your stack, when you're a developer. Pick an easy to understand API. Pick something that you're familiar with. It's the fastest way to build features. That way developers will be happy, your investor will be happy. Get something that has a robust package system so that you could show progress, you could show features really quick, and you didn't have to build it. Hooray, you used an awesome package. Like I love auto forms, I love simple schema. It takes a little bit of time getting up to speed with auto forms. But once you do, like, man, things are kicking out like crazy. Now, I'm going to be sad to see it go. I'm going to totally build a replacement in React if there isn't one when I get there. And you guys can share in the comments if there's something. You need to find something, a stack that has plenty of developers that are ready to work. I love Meteor because it's JavaScript based. There's plenty of JavaScript developers and it's easy to pick up. You need to have something that has a clear path for all devices, mobile devices, desktops, and web, obviously. Something that has baked-in security so you don't have to build it yourself. Limited startup boilerplate needed. You don't want to yak shave a whole day trying to get Webpack going. Who gives a shit about that stuff? You need a great community with plenty of answers and training, specialized consultants, experts available, decent documentation, and the possibility to scale, the possibility to scale. Don't worry about scaling right now, okay? Just that there's a possibility you can kind of do it. So, what to care less about? What, not so much what not to care about, what to care less about. Mid to massive scaling. Who gives a crap about your view layer? Just pick something that's fun, but not too much of a yak shave. You don't worry about perfection. Don't worry so much about the database. Don't worry about your host provider. Don't worry about SEO. Don't worry about the future of a framework that you pick. And don't worry about being technically relevant on the cutting edge. All right. You guys don't need to worry about that. And a lot of people are going to be like, oh, Ben is totally disconnected right now. But I'm not. What you need to worry about is in step one, your investors, the people you're working with, and your customers and your users are going to tell you what's most important to them. If one of these things fit in there, then that's great. But basically what I'm saying is all this stuff can be changed, is massive. You could get into a lot of yak shaving things. So pick one, iterate on it, be happy. WorkPop is a good another. I'm going to use WorkPop as an example. They started with Blaze. They took Blaze as far as they could. They did a lot of innovative stuff with that, and then they moved to React. But they have been alive for a while. They have venture funding. Their MVP, iterating, validating their idea. They use Blaze, and that's awesome. I don't think React was out though when they started, but nonetheless, they probably. I wonder what Abby would say. Abby, would you guys start with Blaze again if you guys started WorkPop from square one today? I'm curious about that. Step 3. Stacks should enable you to be even more shameless promoter. So this talk itself is an MVP. I didn't even finish the slides for this one. But what I'm saying is when you pick a stack, you need to also be thinking as a marketer. So not only are you going to be a product manager, a project manager, and a technical lead, but you also got to be thinking about marketing. React is a buzzword. That's going to be able to give you some marketing clout depending on the industry that you're in. Meteor is a buzzword. Anything that's JavaScript or isomorphic or real time is buzzwords. Is that going to get you possibly on the front page of some of the technical blogs that are out there, or promotions for like coming on shows? Abby does a great job promoting WorkPop, and he goes on shows, he does talks, and he is able to do that because of the technology that they picked. He's not getting onto these talks on the merit of WorkPop alone. He's getting on the talks because they picked a certain stack, and what he's doing is like pretty interesting with that stack. And so then that is an avenue for him now to promote what WorkPop does. So think as a marketer when you're picking your stack as well. Step 3. And I do this a lot on everything that I do. So I do tons of personal MVPs. Every week I'm testing new things, and I have to have an additional value, like a marketing value on top of the goal that it's trying to achieve. And with that, if you do those 3 steps, you can pick a stack with near 100% confidence. You'll understand primarily what not to make. You'll understand what is important to each stakeholder, and you'll avoid as many yaks as you can. And you're thinking of ways to promote and have the stack help you with that. So free advertising from the stack. I don't want to break it down. I talk too much, 31 minutes. But anyway, what I do want to say at the end is, let's get philosophical. So the Holy Grail MVP is not a universal mega stack. It is a special MVP that lives inside of each project, inside their heart. You got to get to know the project. You got to become intimate. Take it out on a date. Yes, but I'm not promoting any single stack in here. I think the main thing that I wanted to share with you guys is my process that I must go through. Step 1 was like the biggest importance. And also I want to kind of have people step away from JavaScript fatigue, step away from feeling like Meteor is a one size fit all technology. And as a developer, I think it's really important to get in tune with the problem that you're trying to solve and not be chasing the sunset of performance or multi-tenancy or microservices, or trying to learn Redux, because you want to be managing your client-side state in some advanced way. Bottom line is, and I really love it because this was the foundation and the mission of the Ben and Abby show when we were doing it, is to get stuff out the door. The thing is, you guys got to be testing things. You guys got to be getting it out there. And even on a personal level, I love Aeronoda. He does this excellent. If you look at how Aeronoda structures his attack on new technology, it's exactly like this, where he'll write a blog post or he'll demo something, or he'll make something that can be marketed like a free training site. Then he throws the code out there and sees what the community likes about it, what they don't like about it. And he'll abandon something if it's not achieving what he wants it to achieve, and he'll fully support it and expand something if it is achieving it. And I think we need to take that approach to everything that we do and stop talking about JavaScript fatigue and then start building cool stuff. And that is it. That's a great idea.
All right. So, first question: do you play the Shia LaBeouf "Do It" video every day before you get started for work?
Do it. Do it. Do it.
Would you say that's the essence of this talk? Is just do it?
I don't want to be the Shia LaBeouf of Meteor. But yes, it is. It is. I think it is. I think it is. Damn it. Damn it. I'm going to burn this thing now.
All right. So Prashant asks, what are some of the downsides of the Meteor stack?
I think the downsides of the Meteor stack right now is that it's immature. It's monolithic. Let me try to rank this in importance. Right now, there's not a lot of options to break things up. And I don't like that. You can only use Meteor pretty much on greenfield projects. It's near impossible to integrate other databases. And with that, then working with pre-existing backends is really painful. And so that really limits everything. On top of that, there's some really questionable situations right now between MDG and the community. And I have confidence that all that's going to be fixed. And I've put myself on the front lines to try and help that happen. But it's still up in the air. What are things going to look like relationship-wise by the end of the year? No one knows. So that is some big things right now, currently, that is concerning.
So some people are saying they can't hear Ben. If you can't hear Ben, just reload the page, and I think that should fix the audio portion if you're having trouble. I would agree with that. I think that Meteor is doing some interesting things to maybe address that, right? Like reactive GraphQL is maybe a backdoor into projects, and then supporting React on the front end is an interesting way to maybe welcome React projects into the community. I think Ben took my advice. Oh, there we go. We got his video.
Whoa.
Look at that.
Everything is breaking down. I'm kind of worried about my transmission show coming up.
No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It might be Crowdcast. Who knows? But 9 other people didn't have a problem. I don't know, Ben. All right. So the next question from Avaldis is how to balance out minimal versus viable.
That's interesting. I would say you can't have one without the other. If you lean one way or the other, then if you do minimal, you're going to have a shit product. If you do viable, are you even going to release it? Because it's going to be doing too much.
Yeah.
So it's 50-50. Like that is the whole talk today was kind of like I would have to frame it as it's a rebalancing for people.
Yeah, I saw this great tweet the other day, and it was I forget who it was, but it was about launching is a war of attrition, right? And like getting something off the ground is way more about cutting the crap out of the original expectations than it is about anything else. So I would agree with that, right? Like you if you just shoot for viable, like you're definitely going to have something that's, you know, probably over the top. You've spent too much time on, you've missed the mark. it's not interesting to people. These are the things you have to worry about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good
Yeah, you
answer.
got to constantly be cutting, but you're not the one that's going to be cutting.
Mm,
You need, step one is to like get buy-in, and
yeah.
then you can't even move forward unless you get buy-in. So an example for that that people can see publicly with me, everything that I do is with a partner.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do anything on my own, whether it's partnering with you or Sashko or Abi, um, or what the package is. I will never go out on my own because I have plenty of ideas, but I've shared those ideas and people disagree and I can't get buy-in. And so then they end up on the cutting room floor. And they should.
Yeah, that's interesting too, because when I worked at Gaslight, which the next speaker is from that company as well, when I was there, we had this saying like, we're better together, and like that was the mantra almost of the business, because like they pair programmed on everything, and like if you wanted to do something, you had to at least get buy-in from one other person. I think you're right. Like an idea only gets stronger when you have at least one other person involved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because sometimes we just have terrible ideas. We need someone to like smack us and tell us it's a terrible idea.
Yeah. And also like humble ourselves too, because some of the advice could come from people that you would least expect it.
Mm.
Um, so, and I take that with like how our relationship was. Like when I was like a super junior developer, uh, and you were still asking me some questions about Meteor Club at the time, and I thought that was awesome. That like showed your character as really taking in advice from the least of these that went through your program.
Oh, I thought you were just a good marketer. That's why I'd ask you questions.
Well, that too, yeah.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right. How do you go about gathering feedback on an MVP? Do you do in person or remote user testing? How do you decide what feedback to incorporate and what feedback to just throw out the window?
So I will not even start an MVP unless I have a passionate base. So I did the podcast with you, Josh, because there was already a base there. We have we have the best Slack room in the world that I'm part of right now, right? So that's our base, and they give us instant feedback. I
Mm-hmm.
did transmission, and I told Sashko like, hey, if we don't achieve these certain goals, and one of them was getting like passionate feedback on Twitter and the forums, then I'm out, because I'm not going to be the one driving this bus. The community needs to be driving it, and we have that. We have really passionate feedback on it. Ben and Abi show, we had passionate feedback, but not as much as I wanted, and I really miss Abi. I want to hang out with him, but the fact of the matter is like there's so much time in my day, and I got to be honest with the rules that I've put forward. So, how to get feedback?
Well, what do you do? Like maybe put it in a context instead of like,
Sure.
a client. Like,
Sure.
when you build an MVP for a client, do you do any kind of testing in person or remote or usertesting.com or anything like that?
Okay. So I think on the technical level, if you're building a software project, everyone kind of knows what you need to do there. And it kind of depends on what you're building. So if you're building like a content site, then it's like a no-brainer that you need to do A/B testing. You need to be testing your price point. And all that stuff will rack up technical debt. A developer needs to make all that stuff. You could totally bypass all that if you have a passionate base at the very beginning that got buy-in from you. And it could be like your mom. That's not technical at all. But if they might be one of the people that they might be a target audience, well, get her on the site, and do a user test and watch her and just get her feedback. And there you go. You don't have to develop anything. You don't need to do advanced A/B testing and all that stuff. But have people buy in. Have people have ownership in it. Don't be the only owner.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. Get other
Yeah.
owners.
And I would say, like, I've done user testing before, and it's like super eye-opening. Like I've done usertesting.com user testing, and like you just tell them to go to a page and like look at some stuff, and they talk into a mic as they pull up the page, and they're just like giving their thoughts as they're thinking them, and that is also super, super helpful.
Yeah, I really like for that level of insight. I like Hotjar.
Yeah, that's not a bad one. I've enjoyed looking at that too.
They offer you some tools. It's easy to implement, and
Yeah, so to me, the difference, like you and I have had this discussion before, like in private. I think something like Crazy Egg is sort of interesting, but Hotjar is way more interesting because you end up getting like this recording that traces the mouse around on the page, and then like I think you can learn a lot more from that, like seeing how they scroll back and forth and move their mouse around and all that kind of stuff.
yeah. But I want to say it a different way. Hotjar is cool, but I wouldn't use that as an excuse of like, oh, I got my user testing down path. Okay, good. I feel good. I'm following Ben's rules. You're not. You know what you're doing. You're interpreting tea leaves. You don't know really what they're thinking.
That's true.
You got to have partners. You got to have people that want to see you succeed, but they're not investors. They're not technical. They are your user base, but yet you're intimately talking with them. And that user base needs to be cycling through. You need to be bringing new people in, and they need to be excited for the app. If you don't have a churning of your user base that you're testing with and you're talking to, then you're just not popular. And there's a problem there.
Yes, I've been there, done that.
Yeah, don't interpret tea leaves.
Yes, and well, and on the flip side, right? Like you need to make sure you're not just relying on the partner either, because like I've been there. I've had a partner. We thought we were doing the right thing, and we weren't able to convince people that the thing we were building was worth paying money for. And sometimes that happens. And that's where the feedback, I think, can be valuable from outside people as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I have so many ideas, and I bounce it off of a minimum of 4 different people. And if I don't get approval from all 4, then I have to either iterate or drop it. And that's kind of like my style.
Do you go back to the same 4 people after you iterate?
It depends.
Yeah. Because like I would think someone would be like, Ben, no, just drop it. I know I annoy some people when I'm like, but what if I do this instead?
Well, and it depends on who you talk to. So if there's like a mentorship thing going on, like with you or with Paul or with Abby, I'll like keep on coming back to you guys, because you guys are super wise. You guys have a lot of history to base your decisions off of, and you're genuinely interested in what I'm doing. So yeah, I would totally hit you guys up like crazy.
Bio said he'll give you a rubber stamp. All right. Last question. They're all 0. Which one looks interesting to you? No, nothing.
I like the first one. How do you go about resolving conflicts with stakeholders?
Yeah,
this is super important. So like, what if you have these different people from different user bases or stakeholders, how I use that term, and they're giving you conflicting information on what you need to work on. So that's pretty interesting. So that is where you need to get a third opinion. Okay. Here's the bottom line. Never trust your own opinion. Never trust it. You are too involved. You are too emotionally connected, and you cannot be the tiebreaker. So if there's a split, then this is why you need mentors. So like if I would go to someone like Josh or someone that could be brutally honest with me, and Josh and I do that with our own stuff. Like we ask each other what we think about it, and we value each other's opinion. That's what I would do with conflicting information. If there's too much conflicting information, then it could just be a crappy idea.
Yeah. Or, I mean, sometimes you just have to go with your gut too. I mean, that's okay too.
No.
Yeah.
You know what? I hate my gut because I do investing. And so like at Space Camp, I talked about investing. I'm either 100% confident or 0% confident. I'm never something in the middle with my positions. And I think I'm with that in life all the time. So I'm very black and white.
No 50 Shades of Grey for you, Ben.
Ooh, maybe. I don't know. Do you guys want 50 Shades of Grey? Let's do it.
What is MoneyBot? Someone said, what is MoneyBot? What is MoneyBot then?
Are we out of time?
Elevator pitch. Quick.
MoneyBot is an experiment. It's another like MVP, and it got launched at Space Camp. That was a perfect example to like get people buy-in, and we got some buy-in, so we went to the next level. We iterated on it to a certain point, and we didn't get buy-in past that. So I'm kind of thinking if I'm going to drop it or not, keep it a personal project. But basically, it's an automated trading bot for currency. And it uses my strategy where I don't lose any money, and I make about 70% a year.
Making money.
Yes. People at Space Camp were in disbelief until after my presentation, and then they were like, how do I get involved?
Yeah. So, and then all of a sudden you had a whole cadre of people around you like feverishly writing code.
So the people at Space Camp saw this formula at work. That this is the exact formula I did for MoneyBot. Yeah.
Nice.
So I do it for everything.
All right. Well, thanks, Ben. Thanks for doing the talk. Appreciate it.
Yes. All right, nerds, you guys can go back to like nerdy talk. This was
yes. So speaking of that, we did have a slight snafu in the schedule. Jeremy had a personal crisis pop up and will not be giving the next talk. We will instead advance forward to James' talk. He says everyone's good, so but he did have to go to the hospital. So yeah, hopefully everything turns out great. But we will try to schedule that. You know, I'll talk to him and see if maybe we can do that next week. So we'll do Sam's talk and Jeremy's talk sometime next week. But we'll do James' talk next. So I'll link that up in the Slack chat. And hi, Train. And I'll link it up here as well. Wow, that guy likes his horn.
We're going to miss you guys this week on the Creator Podcast. Make sure to listen in next week.
Indeed. All right. Go do your transmission, and we'll be excited to hear what Ben and Matt have to say.
See you guys.
Goodbye, everybody. This video has been a Space Dojo production. You can click the Learn More button to find out more about us at spacedojo.com. Or you can click the subscribe button to get notified about new videos we put out each week. Thanks for watching.